3 p.m. and it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. No more dinner dreads, no more getting stressed out in the kitchen. You can cook, and I'm here to show you what you can do in the kitchen that will be of ease. Not necessarily easy, because cooking is not meant to be easy, but it is meant to be instinctual, it is meant to be intuitive, it is meant to give you joy, and it is meant to help nourish those in your family. So that's what we're talking about. I keep looking over here to my left because Instagram is right over here on a second camera, and so I occasionally am going to refer to them. So I was talking about leg of lamb to all of them, and what I did is I was in Whole Foods in the meat section, and I'm walking around looking for inspiration, and I see leg of lamb everywhere. Now normally I cook leg of lamb for Passover in the spring, or any other holidays that come our way in the springtime. It's a great Easter dish, right? But it's out for Christmas too during this time of year, and Hanukkah. So I thought to myself, you know, I would love to cook up a leg of lamb for all of you on Facebook and all of you on Instagram. And let's talk about what I did and what I'm going to serve it with. Hey, Stephanie Tusman, she's joining me over here on Instagram for the first time. Usually she's on Facebook, so good for her. And my mom is here on Facebook. So hello to everybody. I want to get this out about the leg of lamb. So I picked up a leg of lamb, and I began it because it's a 4-hour leg of lamb, and it's even better at 6 hours. You can't really overcook it. It falls off the bone. It's juicy. It's amazing. It's in the oven now. It went in at 1:30 this afternoon, so it should be ready right around 5:30, 6:30. So we see how it goes, but I'm cooking it with Cannelini white beans, or Great Northern white beans. So the recipe actually calls for Great Northern white beans, but I had these canned Cannellini beans that I've had in my pantry that are already pre-cooked and softened, and I thought I'm just going to cook it with this. So it could turn out very bad, or it could turn out amazing, and I found an amazing shortcut for which I'll let you know tomorrow. Hey, Debbie Howell, thank you for being here. So let's get started. Let me turn this on. Here we go. Medium heat. And we're going to start with the preparation for the cannellini beans. And what it calls for is an onion. So let me show you how to cut an onion. If you don't know, you think it's intuitive and either you do it right or you do it wrong, but there's some secrets to actually cutting an onion. So if you look, here is the hairy side. Right here, see that hairy side? And then this is kind of the stem side right there, just kind of the edge, the point of it where it grows out from. And so what you're going to do is you're going to maintain a grip on the hairy side. Hey, Brenda Mills, nice to have you here. Maintain a grip on the hairy side, and you're going to start cutting off this pointed stem side. So here we go. We're going to cut like that and peel it back, and then we're going to take the skin. This is a nice brown skin. I saw this in the grocery and thought sometimes those deeper, darker brown skins peel back so easily, and boy, I really hit that one correctly. Look how easy that's peeling back. Okay, let's peel that back. I want to eat my words here. Now you can have a grip on that onion. Do you see that? See how I did that? And this way you can hold that pretty nice and tightly. So let me clean this off. Oh, by the way, I am burning this candle. It is a cedar balsam candle. I love this candle, and it just smells like pine, and I love that. It just makes me feel like I'm in a ski lodge rather than in the desert. This time of year, I love that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just slice down the middle. So this calls for a diced onion. So now I have 2 halves, if you can see. I'm still going to maintain the skin on the hairy side of the onion. And you really don't have to dice an onion because it pretty much dices itself. If you take it, hey, Mary McConville, I love you. And Lucy and Salaga, where have you been, Lucy? Missed you, haven't seen you in a while. So do you see how I'm cutting down? Let's see if you can see that over here on Instagram. I'm cutting down small slices like this, slicing it down right from the hairy stem all the way down, and then I'm going to slice it across, and do you see that already comes out diced? So you don't have to chop and dice, chop and dice, chop and dice. Let me turn this down. The olive oil is starting to burn, and some skin got in there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that takes a lot of the chopping right out of it. Then if you've got some big chunks in there, you can always dice them up if you feel you need to. So let's do the same thing with the other half. Do you see this, everybody? You've been working. Okay, teleworking. Okay, Lucy, I get you. Everybody's teleworking. As a matter of fact, Tom moved his office home. Can you believe that? After all these years, who hasn't moved their office home? And he did. And it has been great, except that today, when I was prepping for the show, he somehow thought he needed to come down and make scrambled eggs. I mean, come on. Hey, there you go, Mary. You're over on Instagram too. Okay. Got dual people in dual places. So can you see this again? And I said, oh boy, you have come home to work, and boy, I'm thrilled, and then boy, you need to get out of my space. And he gave me a dirty look. I don't blame him. It's his house too, right? And he was hungry. And I was chopping up, believe it or not, let me throw these in the garbage. I was chopping up fruit and cleaning peppers and everything, so that over the weekend, he could just open the refrigerator door and just get a snack. So how do you like that? There we go. Okay, over easy, sunny side up. There you go. Tom's chiming in. So, okay, let's get started with the onions. I'm going to take these onions and put them right in about 1/4 cup of olive oil. Let me get that hair of the onion out. There we go. And then we're going to chop up carrots and celery and put that in as well. So, let me get a little wooden spoon. Keep this moving along. So what is your favorite dish to make during the holidays? Could it be leg of lamb? Has anybody ever made leg of lamb? They sure had a lot of them. I think that a lot more people make leg of lamb than I would suspect. Let me turn this up now. I turned it down. Okay, so tell me, what are your favorite holiday dishes? Yep. Oh, Helene, my sister is here. Hey, Helene, how are you? Okay, I'm so happy, and I'm putting a card in the mail to you, Helene, tonight. So get to the post office. Don't wait till January to get to the post office. She always does. She's like, I didn't know anything was there. Had to go to the post office. So keep an eye out this next coming week, Helene. You and Susie. Okay, so here we go. Chopping up the celery. We're going to put in about 2 cups of celery, 2 cups of onions. There we go. Now I have my ugly carrots here, and we're going to throw those in well and soften everything up. And again, this is not for the lamb, this is for the cannellini beans. And I'll post a picture later on tonight that shows you how we take the lamb and put it on a big platter and then pour these cannellini beans right along the bottom of it. And then you don't slice the leg of lamb. You take forks and stick them in, and everybody just takes a fork and digs the meat right off the top. There you go. I was wondering, right, I knew you were. I knew you were. I knew you were. Okay, there we go. Now, can you see these? Let me see these carrots. So I love these because I call them our ugly carrots, because they come right off the farm here locally, Desert Bloom Farm, and they're not perfect carrots, and that is what I love. Yes, and can I say, Mary McConville, we cook prime rib every Christmas Eve. That is our go-to dinner. Prime rib, it's just amazing. Hey, Arlene, nice to have you here. So we're making leg of lamb for the holidays, and I got very inspired a couple days ago when I went through Whole Foods and saw a ton of leg of lambs, and thought, I want to help everybody learn to make leg of lamb because it is so much easier than one would think. So right now what I'm making is the cannellini beans that go along the bottom of it. This is an Ina Garden recipe, but she calls for soaking great white northern beans overnight. And you know, no matter how many times I read recipes, if it says do something overnight, I always forget. So I thought to myself, what can I do that could make up for that, because I wanted to show you guys all, this was what I planned for today, and I was so excited about it. And I had these jars of cannellini beans that I had saved during the March shutdown, just in case we couldn't get food. I thought these canned cannellini beans, I could figure out how to do something with it. And so I realize if I don't get these into some meal, they probably won't be good. But good for me, they're good until November of 2021. So we're good there. Okay, so here's the, you guys see that? Here is the, let me help you guys see it. There's the onions and the celery. And let me turn this for all of you. And Helene made latkes, very good, very good. Let's see, I've never tried lamb. Does it taste similar to any other meat? It does. It's a little bit sweeter. It's a little bit sweeter. And it's very tender when you cook it the way that I've cooked it. So we'll stay focused on all of that, right guys? Okay, so, all right, coming back, we're gonna turn you right over here and we're gonna go back to chopping the ugly carrots. So you can see that, right? You can see all that. We're going to throw that in so that they get softened as well. So I love experimenting, and that's what I want to actually encourage, especially young moms. And if you know, are moms with young families, and even if you're single, I mean, everybody wants to cook. Everybody wants to feel like they know what to do or that they could do. Everybody wants to feel that there's an alternative to a drive-through or ordering out, that they can rely on themselves. And why can't you? You surely can rely on yourselves. You just have to learn a few little tricks and confidence. I had said to somebody this morning, or this afternoon, early this afternoon, that my generation had home economics. And as a result of home economics, I learned the difference between a dry measure and a liquid measure. Hey there, Sue. Happy to have you here. But so many people in the generation that came after me did not have the benefit of home economics. And so they didn't learn some of the basics. So basically, if you don't understand the difference between a dry and a liquid measure, and you're trying to follow a recipe, you may not follow it correctly because the measurements are very different. And then you try a recipe and you say, it didn't work out, I can't cook. But it's not true. You just need to know some of the basics, and you can get through and make anything. And if you don't have an ingredient, the more you learn, the more you can learn to substitute. So for me, today, I am substituting already been, sorry, I was getting a phone call, cannellini beans that has already been cooked for the Great Northern White Beans. And so I am hoping it comes out good, but it may not. And if it doesn't, we'll have a good laugh at dinner, and the lamb will still be delicious. But I have every intention of making the cannellini beans good. So, who has ever had cannellini beans? Oh, Grow Up Right does 7 fishes. So I know all of you have done cannellini that are Catholic, and Italian Catholic especially do 7 fishes on Christmas Eve, which I think is fantastic. I love that tradition. I really do. I think that's amazing. The 7 fishes idea is just so fun. You look forward to it every year. Okay, so how many of you have ever eaten or made lamb? Let's see. You put it in soup. What did you put in soup? Oh, you put cannellini beans in soup. Okay, Arlene, and it's good. What kind of soup, Arlene? What kind of soup? Hey, Jessie. Nice to have you here. Callie Jock joined. Hello there. California Jock. I think that's what that means. Okay, this is starting to soften now. The onions. Jessie, Merry Christmas. Nice to have you here. Okay, this is all starting to soften. Look how beautiful that is. Can you see that? Look at the colors in that. Isn't that gorgeous? I think you can see the colors pretty good over here on Instagram. Look at that. Let's see. All kinds of soup. Yeah, all kinds of soup. I love beans. I love beans in soup. Beans or barley. My mom makes a beef and barley soup. And I just love the textures that it gives it. It just gives it such a thicker texture. It's really good. Okay, so this is heating up and it's softening. Onions are getting translucent. And now, while this is just continuing to cook, I'm going to turn down just a bit. What we're going to do is we're going to add garlic, and we are going to add parsley, and we are going to add rosemary and thyme. So it calls for about a tablespoon of garlic. And I've already peeled this and smashed this garlic. And let's mince it up. There we go. Mincing garlic. You see that okay? Let me, there we go. So, there we go. Isn't that great? So I've got Colleen over on Facebook and Cynthia Berman over on Instagram. So you guys should jump on the same platform so you can say hello to each other. Okay, we're throwing garlic over here. There we go. Let's move this up a little bit better. Oops, almost got a thumb. Got to be careful. All right, garlic. Oh, you should smell that. Smells amazing. We're going to add a little bit of salt. About a teaspoon of salt. Let me turn this so you can see. Oh, there we go. About a teaspoon and a half of salt. Freshly ground pepper that I ground today, right before you joined us. Okay, there we go. Oh, it smells heavenly. And now for the parsley. So come back over here, just a little bit. There we go. And how many of you have ever made the mistake and purchased cilantro instead of parsley? I do not like cilantro. I just don't like it. And come to find out that there are certain people, that genetically, believe it or not, that genetically they do not, cilantro tastes like soap. And I must be one of them because I hate the taste of cilantro. And you can always substitute cilantro instead of parsley or parsley instead of cilantro in a recipe, or I substitute basil instead of cilantro in a recipe. But one time I was making an entertaining, and I was making a big meal, and I went to Whole Foods and I got parsley, and when I came home and opened up the bag, I started to chop it like I'm doing here, and it did not smell right. And I looked down and it said cilantro. So I went and grabbed my husband and said, quick, turn off the game. I don't remember what game it was, but it was an important game. You've got to run to Whole Foods for me. I'm running out of time. Go get me some parsley. So he goes to Whole Foods. I said, make sure you look and make sure you read where it says parsley. Make sure that you did that. Hey, Julie Neal, I'm talking about Tom. So he goes to Whole Foods and he runs, he looks for the sign, he comes home, he hands it to me, I take it out of the bag, and I flip out and I go, you brought me cilantro. He goes, I don't know what to do. I go, well, go to Smith's. Don't go to, go somewhere. So he ran to Smith's, he got me parsley. And the next day, I went into Whole Foods to return the cilantro, believe it or not. 2 things of cilantro. And what had happened is that they had put the parsley under the cilantro under the sign that said parsley. So I'm sure we were not the only ones making that mistake that day. So there you go. Sometimes it's not you. Okay, so into the bowl with the parsley. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this is softened nicely. We've got the garlic in here. We've got the onion. We've got the celery, and we've got the carrots. And now what we're going to do is we are going to put in the cannellini beans. Hello there, Saeed. Thank you for being here. All right, there you go. Okay, so the white beans go in. Look at that. Does that look beautiful? Now, I drain those, but as I was draining them, I saw that there was a very thick, juice that was in these jars, and I thought that would make a really terrific base to this. It would help it thicken just a little bit because we're going to put in 2 cups of chicken stock, and I really don't want it to be really runny. And I love the thickness of what is coming out of this jar. So even though I drained those other ones, I did not drain these. Okay. Get it all out nice and thick. I was worried this wasn't going to be enough. But I mean, we're only 3 people, so it's gonna be plenty, right? And I'm gonna serve this with a nice green salad because I think that, you know, that this is very rich. Oh, you should see how thick this is now. Can you see that? Is that beautiful? Yes, I grow Italian parsley too, Cynthia, but I gotta tell you, my Italian parsley got used up very quickly, and so I'm having to buy it right now until my little parsley sprouts some more parsley leaves for me. Isn't that something? Okay, so look, this is just so beautiful. It's so colorful. It just speaks to nature and the beauty of nature and the color of nature. It's just absolutely beautiful. And let me shake this, and we're gonna add 2 cups of this and let it start simmering and thickening, even though we put in a lot of the cannellini juice, which is very thick already. And while this heats up, there we go, cover it with chicken stock, top back on. Now I'm going to, so it doesn't burn. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely gorgeous. Give me a 1 if you think that this looks as beautiful as I do. Can everybody respond with a 1? Yes? No, it can't be from my mom's side, Helene, because my mother loves cilantro. She absolutely loves cilantro. We fight about it all the time. Oh, how could you not like cilantro? Mom, I don't like cilantro. She loves it. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna take some of these rosemary leaves. We're gonna peel them back. About 2 tablespoons of these rosemary leaves we're gonna chop up. And nobody, yes, Brenda Mills says it looks delicious. Thank you. Anybody over here? All right, Grow Up Right, hit a 1. How about everybody over here? Any 1s? Yeah, oh, you love cilantro too. I can tolerate it in like a salsa because I never knew it was there. And so I can manage it. But if I'm doing a salsa recipe and it calls for cilantro, even the smell bothers me. And I don't know why. I don't know why, but I will tell you this. This is really funny. Ina Garten cannot eat cilantro either, and I thought that was amazing. She's the one that taught me, not that she was teaching everybody, but she replaces cilantro with basil, and I think that's a great idea. I never heard of that before her, but I adore her so much, and in fact, this is her recipe. That I use for both the lamb and for the cannellini beans. So if you love Ina Garten, give me a 1. Yes, did I wash my herbs? Yes, I did. I always wash my herbs. I give them a good rinse. And even though they come out of my garden, let me just tell you that because my garden, hey there, Colette, so nice to have you here. Because my garden is absolutely beautiful, but I have been having tile installed out there, and there is so much tile dust from them cutting the tile that everything in my garden is just covered in this white powder. It's really annoying. So aside from giving it a rinse, because you don't know what bugs are still crawling in it when I cut it and bring it into the house, right? So I've always given it a nice rinse. But now I actually give it a wash with a food-grade hydrogen peroxide because I worry, hey Teresa, there you are, happy to have you here. We're making roast like a lamb. But I really worry now because who knows what that tile dust is. So yes, I give them a really good wash. Thank you for asking that, Arlene. Anybody else? Anybody have any suggestions about what you do with your herbs? How do you cut them? What do you do? Now pretty soon when everybody's out of my backyard, I will just give them a rinse. But when I bring in herbs from Whole Foods or anywhere else, I always wash them food-grade hydrogen peroxide. And in fact, only from the farm, which is an organic farm. I've been to that farm, I've met the farm owner, and I really trust what they give. I just give their herbs and their vegetables a nice rinse. I don't even put the food-grade hydrogen peroxide. But if you don't know where your food's origin is, if you're not convinced that it's from a local farm or somebody that you really trust, then washing with the food-grade hydrogen peroxide is important. And I think everybody in my family, when I cut these herbs, I always say to everybody, take it home and give it a good rinse. It's really necessary. Okay, so here we go. We've got about 2 tablespoons rosemary and 2 tablespoons thyme right into the pot. I think I'm just gonna put a little bit more thyme in. I just love, this thyme is beautiful. It really is nice and green and it's hearty. So I'm just gonna pull it right off the stem and drop it in. Okay, so how many of you want me to go to the oven and pull out this leg of lamb and show it to you so I can talk to you about exactly how I made it and what I did? So if you want me to, let's see, where do I get the food grade hydrogen peroxide? If you run over to nannybubby.com and you go to Game Changers, there is the food grade hydrogen peroxide is listed in there. Just scroll down. I'll show you what it looks like. I get it on Amazon, and it's 6:1. So let's see, turn this so you can read it. Food grade hydrogen peroxide, so you know what it looks like, and get it from Amazon. You dilute it 6:1, so 1 part water to 6 parts, 1 part peroxide to 6 parts water. So let's say yes, and Colette, it is a booze chopping board. My husband got me this for Christmas last year. I love it. It is my favorite thing. I can't believe, and he did this on his own. My daughter usually helps him, but he saw it. He went to get me the knife. Did you guys see this amazing knife holder? I got to show you this. Let me get this. Let me turn this down. Okay, I got to show you this. This is one of my favorite things, and I asked for this. Hey, Susan Sutherland. Okay, let me walk over here. God, I hope I don't drop this. This is the heaviest thing ever. So let me show you this. Ooh, there we go. Okay, look at these knives. It is a knife holder. Let me get Instagram over here. And they just slip in and out. There's silicone needles in here. Can you see that? It's just silicone needles. And you take your knife and you just put it in. Just so simple, just right in. And it keeps them nice and sharp. It keeps them from getting dull, from putting them in a drawer, or whatever you do. And I love this, and I asked for this last year, and while he was on Williams-Sonoma, hey, Tony Carrison, how are you? Nice to see you here. Thank you for joining us. He saw this booze chopping block, and he fell in love with it, Colette. So he got it for me, and it was a shock. Everybody was surprised that he got it. So, okay, so these are the beans. Let me show you this. Trisha's here. Hey, nice to see you. So we got so many people joining us. I find that the longer I stay on, the longer everybody tends to show up. So, it's hard for me to actually think about doing this. If I think about it, I don't do it. But hey, Patty Kennedy. But it's great when everybody shows up, and I really hope that I'm giving everybody information. I was talking to a nutritionist today, a young woman who works with my favorite go-to knife, so Cynthia just asked us over on Instagram, is this one. It is the Global Vegetable Knife. And I'm not kidding you. I really feel like a paring knife and this would be all I ever need, because this is my go-to knife. And only someone who is a cook would recognize that people have a go-to knife. And it's the Global Vegetable Knife. It is fantastic. I love it. So anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. Hey, Jeff Metz, how are you? So nice to see you. Okay, so here's the deal. Over here on Instagram, over here on Facebook, I have leg of lamb in the oven. I was walking through Whole Foods looking for inspiration, and when I walked around, I saw that they had leg of lamb everywhere. So I thought, a lot of people are wanting to cook leg of lamb for the holidays, either for Hanukkah or Christmas, and I bought it, and I wanted to cook it for all of you today. So it has another 2 hours to go. Hey, Sherry Brasa, so nice to see you. But if you want me to show you what I did and how I did it, I will put it out of the oven. So if you want to see me pull it out of the oven, everybody who's online live right now, go ahead and type a 1. Type a 1. If I get a lot of good ones, I'll run over there and pull it out of the oven. Let me see. There's a little bit of a delay. There's a little bit of a delay, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting there. 5. Give me, let's get 7. There we go. 6. One more over here. 7, Teresa. Okay, 8, 9, 10. All right, here it comes. Hold on. Let me get a pot holder, or not a pot holder, but I don't want to burn my booze block too terribly. So let me put this here to protect it. Let me move all of this out of the way. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here because this is a little sturdier and it's bigger. Okay, and my pot holder's right here, so you can't see me. I'm just going into the oven. You can probably hear me. I'm going into the oven, and I'm going to hold. Oh my God, it smells amazing. Here we go. All right, give me 1 minute. I have to close the oven. Okay, all right. And now for the big reveal. Whoop, hold on. Teresa reminds me when the camera's not correct. Hang in there, Teresa. I'll get to you. So what I always do, here's a trick. I am the most impatient person on the planet. And when I get ready to take this off, I'm going to burn my hands. And I don't want to burn my hands. So I grab these gloves, these little latex gloves or silicone gloves, I don't know. Something a nurse would put on. But this protects my hands. And I can't use the oven mitts because they're too thick and I can't manipulate. But foil doesn't stay hot for too long. So there we go. So that's a little trick. If you're as impatient as me, there we go. Okay, let me just turn you a little bit. Okay, so you start with a La Crusade, which was my mother-in-law's, and she gave it to me. So there we go. Okay, so look at this. This is how we made this leg of lamb. That looks beautiful. How about an applause? Everybody, yay! Let me find this. Okay. Patty Kennedy, so good. All right. So this is called 4-hour leg of lamb, and I'm going to actually turn it right now. But I'm going to need a mitt to hold on to it so it doesn't go flying. Okay, is that beautiful? Can you see this? Let me take this and oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Look how nice and brown. Gorgeous, right guys? Hey honey, so nice to have you here. So all of you over here on Instagram, let me turn this there. Can you see that? There we go. So here's the thing. In this La Crusade pot, what I was able to do is I put olive oil and salt and pepper onto the leg of lamb. And I heated up this La Crusade before I ever put anything in it. So it was heated up dry. Then what you do is you put olive oil, salt and pepper on the leg of lamb and you put it in, whoop, I'm splashing around, and I sear it on both sides. So this leg of lamb was seared on both sides. Then into this pot goes 6 bay leaves, goes, geez, let me see what else I put in there. You know, obviously salt and pepper. Hold on just a minute. For some reason I'm forgetting that, which is kind of fun, right? Salt and pepper, a whole bottle of white wine. That's what it was. A whole bottle of white wine went into here. 2 cups of water, 2 heads of garlic, which were completely broken up, and then 15 sprigs of rosemary and 15 sprigs of thyme, and that's it. Then you cover it tightly after about 12 minutes of searing on both sides, and then you put it in the oven. And I love that this got all nice and wet and good. Let me grab a ladle, and I'm going to pour this over the top. Where is the ladle? I cannot find the ladle real fast, but if we take this and just kind of base this over the top. But it's the white wine. Pinot Grigio is what I used. You know, a decent bottle of Pinot Grigio. I always find that if you're going to use wine in a recipe, let it be something that you would drink, because if it doesn't taste good to you, it's not going to taste good in your food either. The rosemary just looks beautiful. There we go. How does that look? Does everybody like that? Can we get like an applause, everybody? Isn't that gorgeous? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cover right back on it, and I'm going to let it continue to cook on a low fire, about 300 degrees. And think about how easy this is. This is salt and pepper and olive oil, a bottle of wine, 2 cups of chicken broth or water. I used the water because I didn't want to dilute down the wine. And thank you, Sue, I love that. And cover it, put 6 cloves of garlic in, and the rosemary, and just let it roast on a 300-degree oven. And that's all you do. So when I take this out, and I'll shoot pictures of it today, and I'll post it for all of you to see, I'm gonna put it on a platter, and I'm gonna take the beans, and I'm gonna put it all around the outside. And then I'm gonna take this platter and just sit it right in the middle of the whole family with forks, and I'm not gonna carve it. Everybody is just gonna take their forks and just start digging the meat right off the bone. And if I've cooked it long enough and correct, I think I might just add a little bit of chicken stock. Sorry about that, Cynthia. Instagram just paused. They said it was a bad connection. I'm just going to add a little bit more of chicken stock because I'm going to cook this for an actual maybe hour and a half longer than the 4 hours that it calls for, because I'm going to go see my grandchildren, which I do every day when the show is over. Then by the time I get back. So there you go. Back into the oven. So now, any questions, I am happy to answer. What are the questions? Anybody? Let's see. I can be there in 4 hours. Yeah, I know, you sure could. But can your car be here in 4 hours, I guess is the question, right? Can your car make it? Okay. And if you can get here in 4 hours, you are welcome. So, but you have to sleep on the couch because we just converted the extra bedroom to an office for Tom and Russell. So how do you like that? Okay, any questions? Thanks, Arlene. So glad. Arlene, how are you feeling? How are you feeling, Arlene? Tell me. Uh-oh. Well, guys, I just started this recipe on fire. How do you like that? Just started that recipe on fire on the candle that smells like pine, which no longer smells like pine, but smells like burnt paper. So there you have it. All kinds of things happen in the kitchen. So any questions? Good, I'm glad. Do you use convection? I do. I use convection for everything except for baking. I always bake when I do sweets, which I don't do very often. And all of you know that I am not high on using or eating sugar at all. Butter, I use butter for everything. I believe in butter. I love butter. Butter is the sexiest thing we eat. Butter is good for you in the right uses. It gets a bad rap for God knows what reason, and who started that, I don't know. But if you take fat out, they put sugar in, and sugar is a poison. So I don't do a lot of baking except for special occasions like Hanukkah. We had donuts, and I was sick for 3 days, but I had to have them, right? I had to have them. So anyway, but if I do bake for whatever special occasion, Jeff, I always just put it on bake, because a convection oven, with the way that the air goes, like if you put a cake into a convection oven with the fan, it causes the cake to like move towards the fan, so your cake will always be lopsided. Like, I couldn't understand what was happening because I love to convection roast everything. I'm like, why are these cupcakes all leaning, all uneven? I couldn't figure it out. And then finally I realized that what was happening is that, my smoke alarm is going to go off any minute right now. I can just smell all the smoke from the paper burning on the candle. But what I found out is convection with the fan that rolls, it pulls everything lopsided. So whenever you bake sweets, you have to do it in regular bake. Everything else you can do convection roast. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? I'm going to put this back in the oven. Hold on. So tell me, what are you making for the holidays? Anything special? Just type what you might be making for the holidays. Let's see. Gotcha. Okay, Jeff. Okay, back in the oven. Hold on. I'm going to put this back. Everybody type while I'm putting this back in the oven. Everybody type what you're thinking about making for the holidays. Let's see, y'all typing it in. So we always have, let's see. Okay, nobody started typing yet, but let me just tell you, for Christmas Eve, we always have prime rib. We always have Yorkshire pudding, which my mother-in-law makes. It used to be called hooligan pancakes, and we found out chicken piccata. I love chicken piccata. prime rib, Arlene, us two. I have a great prime rib recipe that is actually a 12-hour roast. And so I might come on in the morning on Christmas Eve when I put it up and show you all of that. And then I'll talk about it at 3 o'clock on Christmas Eve before I take it over to my daughter's. Actually, I'm going to do it at my daughter's. Let me think about how I'm going to do that. Okay. I don't want you to miss that. It's fantastic. And then I'm going to make a kale salad, and I'm so excited because this kale has been growing outside of my garden, covered in dust from the tile, but I'll wash it up really good. And my kale salad is fantastic, so I'm going to make kale salad and probably green beans, I think. I think I'm going to make green beans, so I'm really excited about that. I love our Christmas Eve meal, and the kids will probably make cookies or whatever, so. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. So happy you joined me. Remember, if it's 3 p.m., it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. And when we're all done, on the count of 3, we all say this together. Until next time, 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. Bye, everybody. Love you.